of the AC that indicate administrative and management weaknesses of the institutions. It also points out, I think, a responsibility from government that I believe ranges from government, whether it is ministers or whether these are institutions, about how they acquit their responsibilities.
Dr. Angela Brownberg, MP for Southwest St. Andrew. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he has secured the support of at least 20 unions and associations representing the public health sector for the ministry's accountability framework. This follows a meeting on Wednesday with representatives from across a section of the country's public health workforce.
The accountability framework does have in it a recognition of the need to improve the welfare of staff in our health institutions, the food establishments for healthier meals, lounge areas for staff working long hours, even the possibility of gyms and so on. But on the other hand, too, the issues around accountability, staff members playing their role in accordance with their contract, showing greater empathy and being at work the time when they're supposed to be there, taking care of the patients. That goes hand in hand with the welfare offering.
The framework is also aimed at reinforcing sound financial and administrative practices across the sector. Dr. Tufton says the consensus among the unions and associations highlights a shared goal of a stronger public health system.
It's in all our interest to ensure that this is done, and the reception from the unions was encouraging, very positive, and it appears that we can establish a kind of tripartite arrangement between the unions and their representatives, the staff or management of the institutions, the CEOs, the SMOs, etc., and of course the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And that's really what we want as we seek to enhance the quality of service delivery and reduce the complaints that tend to be a part of the service delivery in too many cases.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. State Minister in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Delano Seawright, says rich rum is another powerful product that showcases local enterprises on the global stage. He was speaking at the official launch of Rich Rum at the AC Hotel in Kingston on Wednesday.
It's not just another product launch. This is really about Jamaican entrepreneurship. It's about Jamaican ownership. It's about Jamaican culture. And in a big way, it's about the Jamaica brand. We're really excited about that. So I say this often, Jamaica cannot only export talent, we must export brands. Rich Rum now joins that bigger story. Jamaicans creating products with personality, with heritage, and with commercial ambition.
Rich Rum, produced by Triple Gold Rums Limited, is the new product of cricket legend Chris Gayle. According to Seawright, Gayle remains one of the world's most recognizable cricketers and carries a large social fan base. He says with this international visibility, Rich Rum will be given an opportunity to build recognition in overseas markets while strengthening brand Jamaica.
My message to entrepreneurs really is to think big. And Chris Gayle and Ian McDonald are really showing you that, listen, there are possibilities out there, the opportunities are there, the Jamaican brand is huge, and it's time for us to really get out there and expand it and bring the Jamaica footprint around all of the world. To every entrepreneur here tonight, be bold, be serious, build properly, and believe that Jamaican brands can compete anywhere in the world.
That's Delano Seawright, State Minister in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
Looking to remodel your home? Need a unique marble countertop design or stylish bathroom faucet? Look no more. Garrett Trading caters to all your building finishing needs. From tiles and countertops to kitchen sinks and toilets, we have it all. Contact us today at 876-634-9773 or 876-669-8996. Visit our showrooms at 169 Constant Spring Road, Kingston 8 or Stone Yard at 10 to 12 Claredale Avenue, Kingston 10. Garrett Trading for fine finishes, fittings and fixtures.
Listen up, motorists. Every driver's license starts with 0 demerit points. But when you commit certain traffic offences, points are added to your record after payment of the traffic ticket at the tax office or conviction by a court. Quick maths. 10 to 13 points, a 6-month suspension. 14 to 19 points, 1 year. And 20 points or more, a 2-year suspension. Don't risk it. Obey the road code, drive responsibly, and avoid demerit points. This message is brought to you by the Island Traffic Authority.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alex Raby. We start with news on the World Cup as Spain are through to the semi-finals of the 2026 FIFA World Cup after beating Belgium 2-1 in a tight quarter-final at the Sophie Stadium in California on Friday. Fabian Ruiz and substitute Mikel Merino scored in each half to take the European champions past a plucky Belgium who got their consolation from Charles Coutalaru.
Yamal, Porro again, Doko's with him, there's the pullback, good save, spell, goal, Fabian Ruiz! De Bruyne, back out to Castagna, into Catalan! Belgium equaliser! Kubasi taking aim, spilled by Lemons, and buried, it's that man again! Senna Lemons is beaten, and Spain take the lead late on, Mikel Merino climbing off the bench once again, and we have our Hollywood headline.
Spain will now meet France in Tuesday's first semi-final in Dallas. The other semi-final bracket will be known on Saturday when England battle against Norway at 4 p.m. and champions Argentina take on Switzerland at 8 p.m. Nationwide 90 FM will have live coverage starts at 3:30 p.m. with a pre-game show. On to track and field as Jamaica's world champion Oblique Seville won the men's 100 meters at the Monaco Diamond League meeting on Friday. Seville, who's the world leader in the event, clocked 9.88 seconds to beat the world indoor 60-meter medalist Jordan Anthony of the United States, who did 99.92 for second.
It's silent here in Monaco until they started running. Everyone is on their feet for the men's 100. Seville in the middle, slightly ahead of Anthony. It is going to be Oblique Seville, 9.88. That was such a close race. Hardly anything to choose between them in the first 50 metres, but it is the world champion, the world leader, who takes the final race here in Monaco.
And Wayne Pinnock was the next best placed Jamaican at the meet. His season's best, 8.39 meters, was good enough for second in the men's long jump, with compatriot and former world champion Tajay Gale seventh with 8.04 meters. Demish Raswell had to settle for sixth in the 100 meters hurdles in 12.56 seconds. Olympic champion and world leader Masai Russell was in a meet record, in 12.20 seconds. Nikisha Price was fourth in the women's 400 meters in a season's best, 49.36 seconds. The event won by Olympic champion Marilady Paulino in a new meet record, 48.67 seconds. Romain Beckford scaled 2.23 meters for fourth in the men's high jump. Over on one of the highlights of the meet was Julian Alfred's 21.84 seconds to win the women's 200 meters. The time beat the St. Lucian national record and erased Marilyn Otti's 33-year-old meet record.
Oh, pretty even here between Gabby Thomas, Julian Alfred and Hodge. Sturgis is pretty even as they go through the break here. Deja Hodge rocky and rolling in lane 5. Julian Alfred looking smooth in 6. Julian Alfred is going to take the win here. 21.5 from Julian Alfred. That is sensational. Third all time. It's another meeting record. The world lead. And it's just off the Diamond League record.
Now on to cricket as Captain Haley Matthews and Rolina Gridmond put on a record-breaking 258-run opening stand to help West Indies complete a 9-wicket win over Ireland in the first game of their 3-match ODI series. It was also the West Indies' highest successful ODI run chase and the highest partnership for any wicket for West Indies in ODIs. Matthews ended unbeaten on 159 with 24 fours and 2 sixes, while Grimond weighed in with 91. As West Indies set 270 to win, reached the target losing just 1 wicket and with 68 balls to spare. Matthews had earlier bagged 3 for 52 and Afi Fletcher 4 for 49 to dismiss the Irish for 269. Wicketkeeper and Amy Hunter led the batting with 96. The teams will meet again on Sunday in Game 2 at the same venue. Now, West Indies captain Darren Sammy says his team is fully prepared for a crucial 5-match one-day international series against New Zealand, which bodes off in the Caribbean on Friday, July 11. The opening 3-match series will be played at the Guyana National Stadium in Province on July 11, 13 and 16 before the series moves to the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados for the final 2 games on July 19 and 21. Shami described the series as a vital step in the West Indies' quest to qualify for the 2027 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup, which will be jointly hosted by South Africa, Zimbabwe and Namibia.
Always a good place to play cricket. The people come out and support. We got a couple local boys in here as well. But most importantly, these games are very crucial for us. You know, the goal is to qualify for the World Cup, and we're working towards that. So hopefully, the surface that's there, we could play well and help us to get the results we want against New Zealand.
Sammy is also optimistic that the squad can carry the momentum from its recent Test victory into the ODI series.
The hard work being rewarded through performance. So hopefully those batters who coming through the Test series and also the players coming through the Test series, they could, you know, continue from where they left off and put, you know, consistent performances that could affect us in winning matches.
Darren Sammy. Now, former West Indies fast bowler Curtly Ambrose revealed that while he favours giving back to West Indies cricket, he doesn't believe past players are involved enough in the programme. Ambrose played in 98 Tests and 176 one-day internationals. The 6'9" seamer revealed a conversation he had with current CWI President Dr. Kishore Shallow some years ago.
Well, I can tell you this much. The president, Kishore Shallow, he's also from St. Vincent. A couple of years ago when he became the president, I was in St. Vincent doing some cricket stuff. And he rang me up and said, listen, we need to go to dinner. We need to talk about West Indies cricket and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, great. So we went to dinner, had a long talk about West Indies cricket, the kind of roles you want the former cricketers to play and blah, blah. So I left the dinner feeling excited. I said, okay, at least there'll be a change. That was about how long ago now? About 4 years ago. I haven't heard from him since. So I got a free meal and a world speech, and then that was it.
Now, Ambrose added that during his 12 year representing the West Indies, England's Graham Gooch was a player he found difficult to dismiss.
Very stubborn cricketer, tough. Not the most attractive, not the most, you know. I mean,
that's his protege there.
Headingley, was it when was that
1991?
You weren't playing?
We played. Yeah.
That's meant to be one of the best innings.
Yeah, correct.
Correct. Big beginnings, yeah.
All the guys are falling around him, and he really a gutsy player, tough, not the most attractive or the most talented.
Curtly Ambrose. Now to some volleyball, as Jamaica's women's beach volleyball team is continuing its build-up to the upcoming Central American and Caribbean Games with competitions on the international stage. The duo of Christina Miller-Lumsden and Gillian Johnson are in Honduras for the Narcica Beach Continental Tour taking place from July 10 to 12. The tournament is expected to provide valuable match experience as the pair fine-tune their preparation for one of the region's premier multi-sport events. Miller Lumsden brings experience to the partnership, having previously competed on the Narcica Beach Continental Tour, while Johnson will be making her debut at this level. Their combination of senior player and emerging talent reflects Jamaica's continued investment in developing a strong women's beach volleyball program. Meantime, Jamaica Volleyball Association selected a 13-member squad to represent the country at the Under-19 Continental Championships in Costa Rica from July 17 to 25. The team is made up of largely the players who represented Jamaica's Under-17 team at the regional tournament hosted on home soil earlier this year, reflecting on the association's continued investment in developing its young talent. Assistant coach Nicholas Wilson said the tournament will mark Jamaica's debut at the Under-19 continental level.
It's new territory for us, but we here think that we can compete with the level of quality that we're going up against. I understand that we are the minnows, the quote-unquote minnows of the competition, but despite that, we still want to put our best foot forward and compete nevertheless.
He acknowledged that Jamaica will face a stern test throughout the tournament.
The competition will be really competitive. You have the likes of the United States, Canada, Mexico, Cuba, DOMREP, the host country Costa Rica, US Virgin Islands. These are all established countries in these age groups. This is probably our first time entering at this level. So we don't know what to expect really. The only thing we know is that these programs or these countries have well-developed programs, and we're stepping into new territory and we want to give our best.
Nicholas Wilson. The squad comprises Rihanna Roberts, Rhea Bertram, Suri Waugh, Annalise Dawkins, Marissa Johnson, Layla Hardin, Kira Renee Hay, Courtney Henry, Akira Hillary, Zarmi Ma Kishore, Lamy King, Madison Brown, and Kia Tucker. I'm Alric Swaby, and that's your sports.
Jamaica, UDC summer. A UDC summer, I don't know, so ding dong ravers. I mean, I tell you, say start in the 27th of June. Gather your friends, your family, the whole crew, and visit the world's famous Duns River Falls. You see, if 6 sound go, the 6th person go in free. Start your first visit, collect your Duns River Falls passport, and go and collect some stamp. Can you see after your 5th visit, the 6th one have free. And look out for UDC Summer Bonfire Saturdays. Check the press for details.
A voice you love returns home. This August, afternoons on Nationwide, on air and online will never be the same. This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Parents, guardians, let's keep school mornings moving. The National Rural School Bus Program is now cashless, so don't forget to top up your child's student transportation card. Top up easily at any Operation Bill Express location island-wide, or simply download the Tap Jamaica app for quick and convenient top-ups. Fast, simple, secure. No cash in hand, just tap and ride. The National Rural School Bus Program, keeping our students moving every school day.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
If you've ever called in, shared your story, or got help on this show, then you're already family. Now make it official. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
A voice, a personality you love returns to Nationwide this August. afternoons, on air and online at Nationwide, will never be the same.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Lone vibes, lone laughs, and lone entertainment. Come on the road with we. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in on the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. We forget to big up my DJ. DJ Jerome, the shell boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the maddest, baddest, and latest tune. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
The Nation's Business is brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth.
6:23. Thank you so much for staying with us. So you are with us at Nationwide at 5, and we now turn to the nation's business. The Member of Parliament for South Trelawney, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, says though the government supports the Integrity Commission, its approach to its work can damage people's reputation. She made the comment during Thursday's sitting of Parliament's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee.
I am in full support of the Integrity Commission. I'm in full support of proper investigation. But I want to thank you because I think it's important that the nation understands that there are persons who serve in public life that have their names on documents that are tarnished, that really and truly there is no true basis for them to be, their reputations to be tarnished. So just want to say how important it is, your opening remarks and our approach that where there's wrongdoing, we must answer for it as public service. And whatever they do must be borne in mind that the idea is to have people in public service that are open and honest and not doing anything, but there is no requirement under the law to destroy someone's reputation at all.
She says that sometimes information may be asked of individuals, but they simply do not recall. The former Speaker of the House of Representatives says in situations like these, the public will automatically assume that an official came by their assets dishonestly.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I just want to pause for a moment to congratulate you on your opening remarks because I think it is important that we recognize and say to the country that as an oversight committee, we support the Integrity Commission. Our government supports the Integrity Commission. But what we want to do is to prosecute where necessary and not persecute. And in persecution, it's not just the persecution, it is the absolute damage that one does to a person's reputation. And going back to what member from Eastern Westmoreland said, you cannot, and you said it, you cannot assume that simply because information is not provided, you know, it is something that you're hiding around. Because what it is that happens, it is very often, it can happen, it has happened, where you ask for information. For one reason or the other, you don't recall. There are times where there are persons who might have, for example, I just pull out of the hat, there are properties you pay taxes for, but you're in a company situation where at the end of whenever it is that you are to pay the taxes, it is brought to you and you write down and you pay, the person in the company pays it and you send it off. But that does not say that you remember that 40 years ago your mom gave you a bit of land and you own it and you keep paying taxes for it. But you know, parents come from rural Jamaica, you have it there, you're not doing anything with it, you're paying the taxes because it is yours, but you don't even recall it. Then, so you don't have it on a report, you're asked about that bit of land, you say, but I don't have anything like that. Or an insurance policy that you took out at 19, long before you dreamt you were in politics, and you have it. Sometimes you pay it, sometimes, as a lot of persons that I'm familiar with, the policy lapse because you forget it at 19, 20, 30, not paid. But you never put it on because you don't remember it. You are asked about it. You say, but I don't have that, no insurance policy. You check back and you do. And when in fact, there are two situations that can arise. You don't put it on, and a report comes because they have found it. Once your name gets there and you have not, immediately, the public assumes that it's not even a piece of land out in the country now, that you have something that you have dishonestly and you're trying to hide it, or an insurance policy that you haven't. That is one situation. And immediately, the reality is in this country that once your name appears, there is something dishonest about you, and I think it is not right, to put it very lightly.
That's Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, the Member of Parliament for South Trelawney. She was fined for $900,000 in early 2025 for breaching the Integrity Commission Act. The charges stemmed from her failure to declare a $6 million Mercedes-Benz in her statutory declarations between 2015 and 2021. At this point in time, we go for the break.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:29. 6:29. Thank you so much for staying with us. We are still on the Nations business, and we are playing what happened in the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. We just heard from Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, the Member of Parliament for Southern Trelawney. And of course, now, in the meantime, Member of Parliament for South West St. Andrew, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, is reminding parliamentarians and the public officials that they have a higher duty to integrity than private citizens.
In relation to some of the comments that you had made earlier, I'm using the opportunity to deal with the changes that we suggest. I believe that we also need to make it clear that and I think Member Chuck alluded to that as members of Parliament, as ministers, we know that we should be held to a higher standard, and that by virtue of volunteering for these positions, we are expecting to be held to a higher standard. And I say that because that then has some implications for how we behave, one in relation to our interaction with the Integrity Commission in terms of the information that they request of us. So failure to provide information by members of Parliament, by ministers, I think is something that we really should look at carefully and deeply. For those of us who understand that we have to lead by example. I also want to say that suspicion is understandable by the public when we are suggesting changes because of how we also, as members of Parliament, have behaved towards the IC. I go back again to the findings of the AC that indicate administrative and management weaknesses of the institutions, it also points out, I think, a responsibility from government that I believe, in as much as we talk about what we want to see in terms of changes from the IC, we also need to require those changes from government, whether it is ministers or whether these are institutions, about how they acquit their responsibilities. When I see the IC make a recommendation about training, for example, in certain areas, I'm not even sure what is the word that I need to use, because that shouldn't be coming from the IC, because that points to a significant weakness in the institution that they are examining. And I find that there are too many where their recommendation to deal with the issues end up being training, end up being further investigation by the same institution about the recourse that they can take to either recover funds spent by the institution. And I really believe that in as much as we need to hold the IC to account, we need to hold government to account, we need to hold government institutions to account, and that has to be a significant part of what we do as well, because we sometimes, by virtue of our own pronouncements, give the IC a bad rep, when in fact the failure is actually on the part of government or the institutions under review.
That's Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, the Member of Parliament for South West St. Andrew. Meanwhile, the MP for North East St. Andrew, Delroy Chuck, says that some questions posed by the Integrity Commission are intrusive and unnecessary.
In recent times, I see, well, let me say, I've been almost 29 years in Parliament, and I've submitted about 34 statutory declarations. But in recent times, the IC have asked me a question: what improvement have I made to my home? And the cost of the improvement. I mean, I find that intrusive. No, I don't have a problem if they say, have you done any structural improvement, or you have had improvement exceeding 5 million or 10 million, as the case may be. But when you're asked, what improvement have you done to your home, and the cost of the improvement, I think this is persecutorial than anything else. So my response was very simple. I have not seen any improvement to the structure. But my wife has done a lot of gardening and has doubled the number of orchids that we have on the property. I mean, you know, what more can I say?
Did they go on to ask you how you were able to double the number of orchids in your garden?
With due respect, and I asked the IC to comment on that when they come here. Is it appropriate to ask what improvement have you done to your home and the cost? No, it would be useful to say, have you improved your property or any property to the tune of 10 million or more, or 5 million or more, and so how did you, come by that funds? But I was worried, Chairman, because I had to ask my wife, did we paint anywhere last? No, because you might paint the house and it costs 2 million. And if you fail to say yes, I could be in trouble. Fortunately, to the best of my wife and my knowledge, no significant improvement had been done to the property. Then, Chairman, it might be useful for us to ask other parliamentarians if they have questions of the IC to bring it to our attention on both sides. Because they have gone to a process now, Chairman, where they, especially new members, they're asking persons, what did you own? Ask about property that they own before they became members of Parliament. So you have situations where members came into Parliament in 2020, 2025, and they have been asked, your property at this, we notice you have a property that you purchased in 1970. When it turned out that property was in somebody's name, similar name, but it's somebody's different name. I mean, you waste the time of a person to respond to questions about property that you purchased before you became a member of parliament. And I think, Chairman, that the IC should not be investigating and asking questions about property that you own before you became a member of parliament. So there was a colleague of mine who was asked what happened to the vehicle that you had in 1991, because it shows that he still has the certificate. And the member responded, it has been lying at my house deteriorating. In other words, another point, Chairman, they asked me about two companies that my name appeared on. Truth at the matter, those two companies were formed in the late 80s, never operated. My response to them, I know nothing about the company, which was wrong. Right. Which was wrong. I said, I know nothing about these two companies until they pulled the registration of the companies, sent it to me, and I said, yes, those were two companies. When I was an attorney practicing, we formed several companies, but these two companies never operated. And it put me through the expense of having to take these two companies and then close them at the Register of Companies.
That's Delroy Chuck there, and he also went on to say that he believes the Integrity Commission should not request information after a certain period has passed.
So what I'm saying, Chairman, I don't know to what extent it is appropriate for the IC to be asking questions of members of parliament about properties that they owned before they became members of parliament. I have seen and I have heard from colleagues on this side, and I'm sure it happens on your side, where the IC may be asking them about a car they're purchasing 20 years ago, and how much did you purchase it for, and you sold it in 2009, how much did you sell it for? These are things which, with due respect, Chairman, if I was the person, I wouldn't remember. I wouldn't remember who I sold it to or what I bought it for. And I think it is unfair that the IC should be doing this to members of parliament, because it is happening. They're not complaining. But when you talk to them, they say, but this is intrusive. And we need to ask the IC what is appropriate for you to be asking for members of parliament, anyone, about matters which they would not even, if they search their memory, they search their files, they wouldn't remember, right? When 7 years have passed, Chairman, they should not be asking for details. That's my view. And I think we need to get the IC to set it clear that there must be a time frame. I mean, I think a colleague of mine said that they should not go beyond 2018. Anything before 2018, when the act was passed, they should not be asking questions about it. So, Chairman, I am concerned because a lot of my colleagues are being put to extreme expenses trying to get time and inconvenience, trying to get information for the IC. And we need the IC to do better, because members feel, and that is why members feel that they're being persecuted.
And Member of Parliament for South East St. Andrew, he says, Julian Robinson, he is requesting that members of the Integrity Commission appear before the committee after reports have been tabled to answer questions from parliamentarians.
Two questions. Given that we are examining reports from the Integrity Commission, and I have questions about reports, as a procedural matter, shouldn't there be, and I think Minister Chuck was going there, a representative from the Commission at these meetings? So, for example, I have questions on the annual report, which nobody here would be qualified to answer. And so, one is, I believe, as a matter of course, if you're examining reports, there should be a representative from the commission who is invited and participates. That's one issue. Okay, I have another one I want to come to, but I'll allow senior counsel to
Chairman,
intervene.
it is always my understanding, and even if it has not been done consistently, that when the Oversight Committee meets, we should have representative from the IC. I don't think it's appropriate for us here to be just discussing in a vacuum without them not being present. So that I just want to reassert that once reports are tabled in Parliament, maybe 2 weeks maximum, that we should we should have a sit to consider the report. But in considering the report, we should invite the IC to be here unless we have nothing to ask, as the case may be. But as Member Robbins is saying, he has certain questions to ask which none of us can answer. And I would say, in going forward, Chairman, apart from what you have said in your opening remarks, I think we should ask the IC to comment on your opening remarks. And I also have a number of remarks to make on any other business, which I would also like the IC to comment on too. Okay? So we can move forward. Sorry to interrupt, Member.
No, I'll always allow senior counsel to amplify my point.
I hope that spirit of togetherness continues throughout
It always exists. It always exists. Now, my second question.
You want me to respond to one?
Huh?
I just want to add to one. To indicate that I too have asked the same question. My understanding is that we as a committee need to meet formally and then to make that request. And going forward, then that will be the circumstances under which we operate. So it was intended, but we have to have this meeting first.
My second question now relates to the ability of this committee to discuss matters related to the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed in a particular case where the subject of the investigation has initiated court action. So while I may not want to comment on the content of the report, which the subject is the report on the subject, I have questions on the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed. And I want clarity as to whether we can raise questions, have a discussion about the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed, where a subject has taken court action in relation to the report.
I think that's a very, very important matter to raise. The matter of whether issues that are sub judice fall within our remit. And it is a matter that we'll have to treat with case by case as well. Because it also will be determined, in my understanding, of what the substance of the court matter is. Right? And also how the report has been constituted. But it's a matter of which we can also seek some specific guidance from counsel that supports the committee, and I will do so.
That's Pernell Charles Jr., the chairman of the Parliament's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. Before him, of course, Julian Robinson, the Member of Parliament for South East St. Andrew, and, of course, a member of the committee as well. They were both speaking during Thursday's sitting of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. Yeah, that's all there is for Nation's Business.
The Nation's Business was brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth. The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority promotes Jamaica as a jurisdiction for international financial services. Visit JIFSA at jifsa.gov.jm. The time by JIFSA is...
It's 14 minutes to 7 o'clock.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Upper Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, leave a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God me say you watch you over me practice.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
A voice you love returns home.
I gotta tell ya.
This August, afternoons on Nationwide, on air and online, will never be the same.
It's 12 minutes going up to 7 o'clock, and of course, around the world, authorities in Mississippi in the United States say that they've found no evidence of foul play so far in the case of an 18-year-old college football player whose death has drawn national attention and has sparked intense online speculation. Nolan Wells disappeared on the 4th of July during a boat trip with his friends to Horn Island off the Mississippi coast. His body was recovered 2 days later. Jackson County Sheriff says investigators are continuing to review tips, photos, and videos from Horn Island. Wells' family has questions they say haven't been answered. That includes an alleged altercation caught on video before he went missing and messages they believe have been deleted from his phone. Nolan's parents spoke publicly for the first time in an interview with ABC News Good Morning America on Friday. Here's that conversation.
And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. I
don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, "Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city." Now, so I was telling him, "Look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group." Because I always said, safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, "Yes, sir." So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. Yeah. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, "Hey, Mom, I'm back," type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then, too, really didn't worry a lot about it because, it was his last weekend to have fun because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, you know, we understand he wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you say you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Tashima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone, they tracked it. And that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
And Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to briefly touch on, we want to get the phone and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps. When he goes and he's having fun, he does videos. There was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael,
you know.
We're having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strahan. It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else, and that's it. We just want answers.
So you heard it. That's around the world. That situation in Mississippi, from Horn Island, where the 18-year-old college football player was found dead. A very interesting situation, actually. Certainly can't wait to see if the investigation unfolds anything further. But until then, that's all the time we have for you. Of course, it's yours truly, Saeed Bernard. I'm asking you to take care and have a great weekend. Up next, the comments section.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets,